What's going on? How's everyone doing?
Shout out to Colin. Everybody else who's cool with Colin.
Chunky, I didn't say.
Eat your popcorn and your Coca-Cola and relax.
Anyway, tell Colin I'm ready.
What's going on? This is Colin. How's everybody doing? I hope you're having a great day so far. Happy Friday. Happy Valentine's Day. Hope you guys had a great Valentine's Day. Hope you had an even better Friday. Yeah. Well, I've got some court. You guys want to watch some court? I want to watch some court. I have got 3 clips this evening. It's going to be a little bit of a longer stream because the sovereign citizen case takes a long time. It's about an hour long hearing, but it's entertaining. Don't worry. Don't worry. It's worth the watch. And we're going to start with a moron. Then we're going to have a sovereign citizen, and then we're going to end with another moron. So, yeah, that's tonight's schedule. Hope you guys are ready. Before I hit that play button, you know what to do. Hit the like and subscribe. Do your jump kick backflips. Let's go.
Okay, Mr. Paul, you're ready on Stewart?
Yes, Judge.
We are on the record in 2023, TR 381, State of Kansas versus Rebecca Ann Stewart. Please announce appearances.
Yeah.
Oh, I meant to start with this. Emily McDonald, thank you so much for becoming a new member. I appreciate it. Welcome to the family. That is awesome. Thank you.
Richard Paul, on behalf of Rebecca Stewart, who appears by Zoom, separate location of the council.
All right, and we have Carrie Seeley, Court Service Officer. Mr. Dean, are you back at your computer? I think you went to get some journal entry forms or something of that sort.
Yeah, this is it's not too long. It's only about a 10-second. I actually meant to cut this out. Sorry, guys. I actually tried to start early for him. I was listening to him while I was finishing setting up, and I heard him say, "No one's on, no one's on." Colin starts at 8 though, so I'm like, I might as well start now. It's only 30 seconds early. I tried to. It was too late though. But thanks for hopping over. For everyone that came over from Biggin, thank you so much for coming over. Thanks for the shout out, Biggin.
And Paul E. Dean appearing for the state in State versus Rebecca Ann Stewart. This is a warrant to show cause why the defendant's probation should not be revoked. Motion that was filed. No, that's not the right motion.
Judge, I believe it was filed November 6th of 2024.
Yes, Ms. Gillette signed off on that.
I think she said this is not her first. So how does your client want to proceed on this motion to revoke diversion?
Judge, Ms. Stewart would waive her evidentiary hearing, admit to those violations, and proceed to disposition at this time.
Ms. Stewart, do you understand that? Okay, now, is your last name Stewart or Stewart?
Stewart.
With a T or a D?
A T.
T.
A D, okay.
T.
No, a T.
All right, well, we
T
may.
as in Tom, Judge.
Okay. All right, so in your warrant to show cause, you do have the right to a hearing to challenge the allegations of violations. I'm sure Mr. Paz told that to you,
Yes, ma'am.
but you want to waive your right to a hearing and admit that you have violated your probation, is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
And specifically, the state is alleging that you failed to report all changes in residence, telephone number, and employment, and any law enforcement contact immediately or the next day. Do you agree to that?
Yeah.
And then they're saying you failed to obey all federal, state, and local laws. Do you agree with that?
Yes.
What law did you violate?
I got new charges, but I'm not convicted of them yet. I'm in
But they're
that.
pending. Okay. They're saying you didn't report to them as directed. Do you agree with that?
Yes, but it was because I was incarcerated in Allen County.
Okay. They say you failed to pay all your fines and fees associated with the case as directed. Do you agree with that?
Yes, ma'am.
And they say you did not fail to.
Yes, yes. You're not the first person to bring that up already tonight. I am going to be there on Tuesday. The hearing that I'm going to be there for, it's set on the docket at 9 a.m. Who knows when that's going to be? It might end up being 2 p.m. No idea. Judge Simpson has a weird way of scheduling things, so I might be there all afternoon. I have no idea, but I will be there on Tuesday by the first case, which is about 9 a.m. I usually get there early though. I'm usually there between 8 and 8:30 when I head up there. But that is absolutely happening on Tuesday.
Restrained from the purchase, possession, or use of alcoholic beverages or illegal drugs. Do you agree with that one?
Yeah.
Okay. What did you use? Alcohol, illegal drugs?
Your Honor, would probably, probably just gonna be a no contest admission on this, because I'm guessing that's associated with that pending charge over it.
Yes, Judge, I would advise her not to answer that question, Judge.
Okay. Well, I do find that you know what you're doing and that you waive your hearing and stipulate to a number.
It's the landlord tenant case with the TikTok I don't know, the TikToker. I never remember her name. It starts with a T. I don't want to say it because I'm gonna butcher it, but and I can't remember her last name. Her last name starts with a B. Someone in chat will say it, but the pink chair lady was someone said that earlier, and that's the case. Traversia, is that it? I can't remember her name off the top of my head. All right.
Of violations, certainly enough to lead this court to revoke your probation. Are there any recommendations for disposition on this revocation for no proof of insurance dating back to at least 2024 when she was sentenced?
Your Honor, it appears that Ms. Seeley requested this be brought back for review. I think this is their first request for revocation of probation. Ask Ms. Seeley if she's has a particular recommendation or is just recommending that we review this case and restart her again on probation if she hasn't even started probation. It seems like perhaps.
Ms. Seeley, did I not see a prior revocation motion?
I do believe, Your Honor, this is the first revocation that we have had in this case.
I think what's confusing me is your affidavit to request it was October 29th. The warrant to show cause was October 31st, but then we have a motion to revoke 11/6. Okay. So that all deals with the same violations. So recommendations.
Ms. Seeley, had she been reporting to you at all? Had she really started probation before this?
Yes, she was initially placed on probation in March of 2024 at the end of the month. She did miss quite a few of appointments, and I believe the last appointment that she did miss was the same or happened to be the same as the date of offense of this pending case that she now has in Allen County. Honestly, Your Honor, she has a lot of pending cases going on, and I would recommend some sort of sanction of any kind and to revoke and just term this case at this time. I believe she'll have consequences to face in a couple other counties actually after this.
What type of violations is she looking at in the other cases?
She did receive a conviction in Neosho County for 24 CR 230, which happened on.
He's not up there yet. He is not there yet. I don't think he turns his camera on until his case starts. This one's not that long. This one only has about 5 more minutes, so we'll get there. We'll get there quickly.
She was convicted on December 10th of 2024 for interference with law enforcement. It was a misdemeanor case. But then, as Mr. Paw said, she does have a pending case in Allen County for possession of opiates, trafficking and contraband in a correctional facility, interference with law enforcement, felony, and possession of paraphernalia.
Mr. Dean, your recommendation?
Your Honor, she had a 6-month underlying sentence, which usually what I request for somebody to make sure we've got their attention. I don't think that particularly worked in this particular case, but obviously.
Hey, I don't mean to interrupt you, Paul, but the journal entry I'm looking at says she was sentenced to 90 days.
How much credit for time served does she have? Does anyone know?
My notes indicate, Judge, I think there was a thing that said 30 days, then probation, because I think you might have sentenced her to 30 days initially.
Well, if that's the case, serve the balance of 90 days, close the case, send it to collections.
Mr. Paw, did you have anything else to say?
Judge, I know Ms. Stewart has a lot going on. I believe she has maybe half of this case done while in custody of her 90-day custody. Judge, this is her first probation violation. I would ask that you reinstate her.
At this time, the defendant's probation is revoked. She is to get credit for all time served to date on this case, not any of those other cases. And she is to serve the balance of her sentence. Costs to collections.
Your Honor, if I may, I apologize. There seems to be some discrepancy because in the journal entry of plea and sentencing I'm looking at, it does concur with Mr. Dean's 6 months underlying. So we may need to.
All right, then we better look at that.
Well, and I note that, and I also note that this apparently Miss Gillette at some point in time made modifications to a journal entry. Apparently I had prepared, but it did not. And then she must have appeared in the plea. I think there might have been an attempt to get the plea done, and then it was that I had the journal entry prepared, and then it must have been taken up at a later date when I was not available, which is seldom for this docket. So for the type of offense we're dealing with and the other charges she has, I'm satisfied with it being a 90-day sentence, balance of 90 days, credit for time served. Serve that and be done.
Well, since the two of you have initially had differing amounts of time, I want to look at that myself, this journal entry of sentencing.
I'm not so sure that the 90 days that Richard was referencing might have been what I had initially recommended in the court sentence for 6 months, but that's just speculation on my part.
And that may be the case, Paul. But regardless, I would concur with that 90-day. Give her credit for all the time she served and do what you're going to do.
March 29th, 2024, journal entry of plea and sentencing does say sentenced to 6 months on count 2. And she was to serve 30 days ordered by the court as a condition. Well, Ms. Stewart, I'm sorry, but you made apparently an agreement that if you violated your probation, you would serve an underlying sentence of 6 months. I went along with that agreement, and I'm ordering that you serve the balance of your 6 months.
Okay, but it was agreed for 3 months, not 6. That's what
Well, I'm just telling you that apparently the order was 6 months, and that's what you're gonna serve. The
Well,
balance.
good luck. For real.
Okay, so are you sitting here telling me you're going to deliberately run from the law? Is that what you're telling me when you said good luck? Is that what you meant? All right, Mr. Dean, we're gonna need to get a warrant for. She just told me good luck and signed off.
Looking at her record, it doesn't appear she's been too hard for law enforcement to catch up with, so I'm not particularly concerned.
I hope you're right.
I hope I'm right as well, but
If she runs for me, she's gonna fail to appear probably in a bunch of other cases, from what I understand.
it would seem evading law enforcement is not an area for her specialty.
All right. Yeah, I need to make a note that she told me. And that she disappeared on me.
I will have, Your Honor, is the court just forthwith ordering a bench warrant for her arrest based upon, because I have the assistants working on that, working with law enforcement right now as well.
All right. Well, she's revoked and ordered to serve her sentence, and before I could tell her when to check in, she told me good luck and took off. So there we have it. All right, we'll be in recess on Stewart. Mr. Battatori.
Yeah, that one that one took a little while to get to the fun part. The prosecutor though. Looks like evading police officers is not area of her specialty. Whatever, however you worded it. That was good. It's good. I liked it. Who tells the judge good luck? I mean, even if you don't plan on going, don't do that. Don't do that. She's gonna remember you. All right, let's get through these. Dave, thank you so much for being a member for 8 months. You and Katie both. Dave and Katie, thank you so much. You two. 8 months. That is awesome. Thank you. Tisher Cat, thank you for the super chat. Miss a day. Heard your internet was fine. It wasn't fine. It did cut out. It just came back up really quickly. It wasn't down as long as normal, but it still did happen last night. And I did spend an hour on the phone with them again today. Still keeping my fingers crossed. No one seems to know no one seems to know the issue. That's the frustrating part. All right, Sparkle Poach, thank you so much. Happy Valentine's Day to you as well, Sparkle. I do appreciate the super chat. Thank you so much. All right, let's move on to the sovereign citizen of the night. Like I said in the intro, this is a longer hearing. It's about an hour long. So grab your Coca-Cola and your popcorn and relax. It's good. Let's go.
We are on the record.
No, they're gonna be like, "Oh, you're getting super chats for this. You sure you want it to get better?" No, no. I think they're gonna see that and be like, "Oh, you send us some of that money. We'll send someone over there to fix it for you." Yeah, yeah.
In case number 2024 TR 617, State of Kansas versus Abel Estrada Jr. Paulie Dean for the state. This is
I'll answer this one real quick and then let this play for a while. I went back and I was watching it. It is extremely boring, and so I told you guys it was about an hour, it was a little over an hour long hearing. No, I think it was closer to 2 hours. But I went through and I was trying to cut out just some of the parts that were more interesting. It was terrible. The guy, the anti-vaxxer, he wasn't crazy. And the judge wouldn't let him go into any of the reasons why he was an anti-vaxxer, because he was claiming religion. So the nothing came up except for you realize that could be bad, right? Yep. Okay. That was pretty much the extent of the questioning of him for not vaccinating his child. So I just decided not to play it. Just save you guys all from boredom.
is 2024 TR 617. Mr. Abel, you need to start your video and audio. Mr. Abel, you need to start your audio and video so we can have your bench trial.
Here. Hello, here. Hello. Hello.
Mr. Abel, you need to start your audio and video. Sounds like you've started your audio.
Yeah, the video. Start video. Okay.
All right, Mr. Abel, you are representing yourself today, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Judge, you never approved my order for withdrawal.
Yeah, you set that over for today.
Well,
JP, that's the last case. I have his case after this one, because that one's good as well.
I do have your motion to withdraw. I also have the defendant's pro se motion to dismiss with extreme prejudice, affidavit of true and affidavit of reservation of rights, request for writ of discovery, which he filed November 21st to 24. Mr. Abel, what's going on between you and your attorney? Do you want an attorney or do you not?
I do, but he's not able to defend me because for the interest, I don't know, but he's not defending me. I need an attorney.
You say you need an attorney?
But
I don't know if it's your computer or mine, but I'm having a hard time hearing you, sir.
hello.
Missy, is that his computer or mine?
I hope it's not mine.
He's not sitting close enough to the microphone, Judge.
All right, you need to sit closer to your microphone is what I'm told, sir.
Can you hear me now?
That's great, yes. Now, what's going on with your attorney? Do you want your attorney or not?
I do, but there's some conflict of interest where he said he's not going to represent me.
He says he's not going to represent you?
He says he's going to pull himself out.
Okay, Mr. McClendon, what's your take on this?
Judge, my client wants me to support a position that I believe is contrary to the Constitution of the United States. And I took an oath to uphold that when I became an attorney, and I take that oath every year. And he's wanted me to pursue this position that I do not feel comfortable representing the law.
Your Honor, this is the same issue. I believe Mr. Paul was first appointed to this case. Essentially, the defense, as the court has seen, is one that's contrary to the United States Constitution, Constitution of the state of Kansas, that he's for some reason is exempt from, as a private citizen, on the laws of the state of Kansas.
Well, aren't we going to have the same problem regardless of what attorney he has?
That's correct. And if my understanding is correct, the court has indulged Mr. Abel in that it's appointed him two attorneys now. Two attorneys he's sought to have basically present a defense that's contrary to the Kansas Constitution, contrary to the oath that each attorney takes when they're licensed by the state. And additionally, this carries a maximum sentence of 30 days, which would typically not even make him eligible for an attorney, but the court has taken the effort to give him counsel.
Well, and didn't Mr. Estrada, didn't this attorney, William McClendon, represent you when this was brought in initially in city court?
Yes, and it was dismissed. This is why I'm claiming double jeopardy, because I'm going for the same case over again, and this has been dismissed already. Why am I going to court again?
Well, you didn't actually go to trial in the other one. You had a first appearance, as I recall, and then it was dismissed. So you haven't had any jeopardy attached. You've not had a trial in this.
Well, the supremacy laws says that you cannot be tried or convicted of anything.
I know what they say. All right. Well,
Listen to your words, sir. You just stated it. Tried or convicted. The jury was not impaneled. The judge had not begun to take evidence in your city court case. It was dismissed. jeopardy does not attach until one of those events occurred, and they have not occurred.
Well, okay, so Mr. Abel, if you want an attorney, it's going to be William McClendon. If you don't want an attorney, you'll have to either hire one, which it's kind of late for that in the day, or you'll have to represent yourself. So which way do you want to go?
I like to get an attorney, but
Well,
I
I'm not
already,
going to give you continuance for it because you've had this case in municipal court, you've had this case in this court. You've known this hearing was coming up, and you've gone through 2 attorneys. So what do you want to do? Are
very
you going to
simple.
represent yourself or use Mr. McClendon? Those are basically your
I want to
choices.
be, but the
You
paperwork
have
that
to stay up by the microphone. I can't hear you.
I want to be represented by my attorney, but the paperwork that I support, that I put in there is completely lawful, and he doesn't want to go forth with my
Okay,
paper.
so here, is that where the disagreement is? You filed this voluminous motion to dismiss with extreme prejudice, as you captioned it, and he doesn't want to argue that for you? Is that why you 2 are in disagreement?
Yes.
Amongst many other reasons, Judge.
Okay, well, Mr. McClendon, I'm gonna
Judge, if he's able to draft a motion of such, I don't see why he can't be able to argue it himself.
Well, I'm gonna have you stay on board, Mr. McClendon. And Mr. Abel, I have read your motion. Believe it or not, I did read it all. I read about your arguments for the 6th Amendment right to counsel and your discussion of Attorney Richard Paw having a case conflict. And then you start talking about your commercial and private license plates. You start citing federal law that isn't even applicable here.
How's that?
And you start getting into the U.S. Code. And you start talking about retaliation and coercion and the right to confront witnesses, which I agree you do have, and they are here to testify, as I understand it. But I don't agree with this, what you call lawful private American righteous onto the Lord, the King of glory, and the law of the land of the United States, ex parte Milligan. That isn't even making any sense. You start talking about
Oh, Judge, talk slower. I'm taking notes over here. I like that one.
military courts. This is not a military court. You start talking about being a free person, having the right to travel on the roads. Well,
We all are, because this traffic hearing or traffic trial takes over an hour. So we're all the victims of watching this.
provided by their servants for that purpose. Well, we don't have servants in that sense. People are not servants unless they're hired and appropriately contracted. But as far as the roads, if you don't see yourself as having contributed to making those roads, you have to go by the rules of the road.
Yeah, they'll explain it, but he's got the traffic trifecta. No license, no license plates, no registrations, no active license, and no insurance. So that's what this is for, this trial.
And there's more paperwork. You've included the order of dismissal from city court.
I've explained that to you multiple times. You just choose not to listen. So this is how I'm going to explain it to you from now on. Just imagine your 2 brain cells that you have left fighting for 3rd place. That's how I'm going to explain it to you from now on.
You argue that the U.S. Supreme Court and other high court citations prove that no license is necessary for normal use of an automobile on common ways. That's not right. That's not the law. You talk about yourself being a traveler on foot, but you weren't a traveler on foot using the public highways. You were driving a motor vehicle, according to the allegations. You attached something from a Nora Weisenberg Foreign National Division and you addressed Governor Pat McCrory out of Raleigh, North Carolina, a 2015 letter with a carbon copy to Deputy Justice Attorney General Loretta Lynch and Secretary of State John Kerry. I don't see that having any relevance or bearing. Then you've got something with a copyright number and a fee schedule with lawful legal notice, as you call it. And you start talking about prohibited actions in 18 U.S.C. 101, 18 U.S.C. 241, and you go down through those. And again, this is not a federal court. And then you start talking about you have fees that the officers must pay before they can do any business with you.
Correct.
And if they refuse to pay your fees, then any business or interaction with them or transaction you say is basically void. And I do not find that that is the law. You have an interesting fee schedule attached. Apparently, to give them your name, you charge $50,000.
Correct.
To give your driver's license number, you charge the officers $50,000. If they want your social security, it's $100,000. If they want a retinal scan, is that $5 million?
That's correct.
Fingerprinting, photographing, $200,000 each. Then DNA and a bunch of that stuff is $5,000, and you go on with like a long list of what you're going to charge them with, or charge them for talking to them. And I'm not going to honor that fee schedule because I don't think that has.
Come on, Judge. He wants $5 million for a retinal scan. Do police departments even do that? I have not heard of police departments taking your retinal scan. Maybe he just threw that in there, so maybe 20 years in the future they'll start doing that. Ah, man, that's a good one though. That's something. It's probably on BSBT's fee schedule as well.
Has any law in this court, any bearing in this court? You either have the right to talk to the officers, or you have the right not to talk to them. You have the right to talk to them with your attorney, again, or you just have the right not to talk to them. But to try to charge them these fees, that is not consistent with the law.
Man, okay.
And then you have a document, the 12 presumptions of court, and you start talking about a Roman court does not operate according to any rule of law, but by presumptions of law. You go on to talk about before a lower Roman court and a private bar guild. You talk about presumptions of public oath to the bar guild. And again, this is not a practice that Kansas uses. So I'm not going to make any rulings in favor of that document.
But it's a violation of my rights, because what you do with 39 CFR subsection 3(9).
Okay, I can't hear you, sir. You're gonna have to get in front of the microphone.
I've been in front of the microphone, but what you're saying is a clear violation of my rights, because 49 CFR subsection 3(0).
All right, well, sir, I'm gonna stop you there. You've argued your point very, very extensively in your written documents. So I've heard your arguments in the written documents. I don't see any basis to them in this case, and I deny all of your motions and arguments. I note your objection for the record, so you can appeal if you wish, sir. But as judge in this case, I'm denying your motions. And we're going to proceed with your bench trial on a factual basis.
Yeah, but under what law are you basing this? What law? Because you're violating the
Under
law.
the Kansas laws, and if you don't know the Kansas laws, that's what you have an attorney for. He knows the Kansas laws. So we're going to proceed. We're going to proceed, sir. You need to restrain yourself a little bit. We have an orderly process we go through. Mr. Dean, are you ready to proceed?
State's ready, Your Honor.
All right, please call your first witness. And for the record, we are looking at a bench trial on the charge of vehicle display of a license plate. There's an
Ma'am.
argument. Okay. Yes, sir.
Uh,
Briefly.
The Supremacy Clause, Article 6 of the Constitution, it says that the law of the land, the supreme law of the land is the Constitution.
All right. Well, I'm denying your motion, sir, and you need to, if you're gonna participate in this hearing, you have to get closer to your microphone.
Yeah, I'm on top of it. Literally, my face is on the microphone.
Well, you have to turn it up somehow. All right, Mr. Dean, if you'll call it, we're going to start the trial. Are there any opening statements?
Statement waive open statements. Call, looks like we have Deputy Hanson here with us.
Deputy Hanson, please raise your right hand.
Okay.
You solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Very well. Please proceed, Mr. Dean.
Deputy Hanson, would you please state your full name and title?
I am Deputy Clinton Hanson of the Greenwood County Sheriff's Office.
And how long have you been so employed?
Since June of 2023 at this agency.
And how long have you say at this agency, have you worked at other law enforcement agencies prior to your employment with Greenwood County?
Yes, sir. I have a grand total of 15 years in law enforcement.
And is that the same amount of time that you've been a certified law enforcement officer?
Yes, sir.
And back on August 21st of 2024, what were your duties on that day, sir?
On that day, I was just assigned to general patrol and any service calls or accidents that came up.
And were you patrolling the city of Eureka in Greenwood County, Kansas on that day and time?
Yes, sir.
And was there anything on that date that caught your attention as odd?
Yes, sir, there was.
And what was that?
While I was southbound on Main Street, I stopped at the stoplight and I noticed the vehicle in front of me had a very unusual registration on their vehicle.
And what was unusual about that registration?
Well, in 15 years of law enforcement, while I understand things change with license plates, I had never seen this license plate before. What also became very apparent to me as odd was the fact that it had.
All right, real quick. I am 99% sure that this license plate's fake, but I don't think YouTube will know it's fake. So I'm going to have to put up my, where is it at? Oops, wrong button. This one. I'm going to have to put this one up. I don't want to get in trouble for this. And Mr. Dean holds it up for about 5 minutes. We'll be able to hear everything fine. I just don't want to get in trouble, even though, like I said, I don't think it's real. But just in case, we're going to have to watch my lovely face for a few minutes.
A Kansas label on it, as well as a US DOT.
I'll show you what I marked as State's Exhibit number 1. I believe you have the possession of this at the Sheriff's Department, correct?
I do, sir. It's right here.
And that's a license plate that you removed from this vehicle, preserved for evidence for today. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And Does this appear to be an accurate picture and representation?
Yeah, again, I'm sure it is fake. I just don't know if YouTube's gonna know that, and they don't take too kindly to these kind of things being on your videos. Same with ID cards and anything like that. So just to avoid anything potential, I'm just gonna hold this up. He doesn't hold it up forever, but it is for a couple minutes.
And of the plate that you observed while you were on routine traffic control back
Yes,
on
sir.
August 21st, 2024.
Yes, sir.
And that's what you're referencing of Kansas and US DOT not appearing to be something that you would normally see as far as the layout of a license plate.
Correct.
Is private something you generally see on a license plate?
Not a plate that has ever been issued, to the best of my knowledge, by the state of Kansas or any other state.
Did you attempt to run this license plate before initiate or while you were investigating this matter?
I did.
And what, if any, information was dispatch able to provide to you?
There was no information. We could not get a what we call a return or a return from the state with all of the vehicle information.
Kansas, a lawful Kansas license plate, would it not also show a month that it expires and a current sticker showing that it's been registered, tags and taxes paid?
Yes, sir, in the upper right-hand corner.
And that's where it's just indicating that it's exempt for some reason.
Yes, sir.
Based upon the observations of State's Exhibit number 1, Your Honor, and I would move for admission of the same. He's identified it.
Any objection to admission of State's Exhibit 1? Hearing no objection, State's 1 is admitted.
I didn't say anything. I'm trying to speak.
You didn't say anything. That's what I said. But since you didn't announce an objection, I thought you didn't have one.
I do, but I'm trying to speak, but you can't hear me. Anyways, my objection to this is I am completely lawful and I'm following the law of the United States. And I have 2 plates. I have the commercial plates and I have my private plates. I violated no law by that.
All right. Well, your objection is noted and it's overruled and we will proceed.
And just to clarify, Deputy Hanson, that was the plate, the only plate that was being displayed on the vehicle that you were observing, correct?
Yes, sir.
After viewing that and having dispatch run the numbers and nothing coming back, what did you then do?
For a short time, I had to disengage from the vehicle. We had another 911 call. I was later able to find the same vehicle and observe a traffic violation as he was leaving the city of Eureka, at which time I initiated a traffic stop.
And was that on East River Street?
The traffic violation was on East River, like a block inside the city limits. So by the time we actually came to a stop, we were in rural Greenwood County.
And what was the traffic infraction that you observed at that time prior to the stop?
Illegal usage of a lane or illegal lane change. He was in a right-hand turning lane and failed to signal moving left into the appropriate lane, leaving the city of Eureka.
So after making that observation, I think you were starting to say, or perhaps you already said you started a traffic stop, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And did you make contact with the driver?
I did.
And do you see that driver with us here today?
I do, sir.
And where is he?
He is the man wearing glasses listed as Abel E.
Your Honor, to ask the record to reflect that the officer has identified the defendant.
The record shall so reflect.
Were you able to identify Mr. Abel, who you've identified as Abel E, when you contacted him from any type of identification?
I did, sir.
And what did he provide you?
Upon initial contact, he provided me with his valid Kansas driver's license. There was some other paperwork that was inconsistent with what I normally see on a traffic stop as far as registration. He also did provide me current valid insurance.
All right. So based upon the information he provided to you, what did you then do?
Some of the statements that he had began making, I had recognized through some training with the sovereign citizen movement. I am not claiming that he is, just I have heard that in previous encounters and training. So feeling that at some point a supervisor would be requested by Mr. Estrada, I went ahead and requested a supervisor. And then I went back and ran the vehicle's VIN number through my in-car terminal, and I was able to get actually what the vehicle was.
And this was a 2011 GMC Acadia, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And in regards to the, did he make any statements to you in regards to why he was displaying this tag?
Because he said he was driving in the private, he was not driving commercially. He did not he did not need a commercial license plate. That according to him, the plate that was displayed was perfectly legal and lawful.
And he had to indicate he was returning or had returned the Kansas registration plate.
He said he was getting ready to, and he actually held up the envelope that he had packaged up and ready to drop in the mail. The standard Kansas license plate, he was going to mail it back to Topeka.
Did he make a statement that he was a free national and that's why he was going to use his own private plate?
Here we go. Here we go. Let's see. Last night I was only down for about a minute. Cheshire Cat wasn't here. Now Cheshire Cat is here. Let's see. Was that it? Are we back already? All right. Oh, here we go. Yep. Yep. Same time every night. Why do I feel like it's early? Wasn't it 7:48 last night? I thought why do I have 7:48 in my head? Has it been 7:46? Might be 7:46. I don't know. While I'm paused and waiting for it to recover, breaking the wall. Happy Valentine's Day to you as well. I hope you had a great day. Thank you so much for the super chat. I appreciate it. All right. Okay. So maybe it is 46. I know before when it was 8:28, I guess I just kept the 8 in my head. All right. Well, we might be okay. All right. Okay. We might be right. It does my little internet meter isn't refilling. It still shows very low connectivity, but everything seems to be good. So maybe that just hasn't caught up yet. We'll try. We'll try.
Mr. McClendon off the hook, but are you going to use him as your primary counsel?
Yeah, that's what I get. That's what I get for being cocky. Yep, strike two. Absolutely. Absolutely. I should have waited a minute. I knew that was going to happen. So invested into my internet troubles or the case? We're going to finish this case tonight. Don't worry, guys. Do not worry. We are going to finish this. This happens every night, apparently. And generally, it takes about 3 to 4 minutes to pass. All right. You want to try again? I like how you tried to sneak that in while I was in the Matrix glitching. Legal Fix, you are awesome. Thank you for the super chat. And no, I did not miss it, but thank you so much. Yeah, so while I'm just gonna wait a minute to because I'm not gonna keep playing and having to pause it over and over again. All right, this is fun. This is fun. Yeah, yeah. This is generally when it ends, but I'm just gonna wait for the little meter to fill back up. If it does, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it glitches and it just says 0. Everything is fine. No, thanks. Thanks, Legal Fiction. I appreciate it. You're a real benefit to have. I don't know what I would do without you. Thank you, Legal Fiction. I appreciate it. Yeah, it's probably speeding up and slowing down as I go in and out because I'm talking while it keeps crashing. So I wouldn't be surprised. Anyways, when I was talking to my service provider today, I had probably the best technician that I've had in the last week because this has been going on for 2 weeks. I've been on the phone with them almost every day, and he actually thinks it might be something on my computer. So we ran a test tonight. So I have my TV going, and I was just random. I don't even know what's on Netflix right now, but the point was, does my TV crash the same time my laptop does? And it didn't. The show never stopped. So this actually might be a laptop issue, might not be an internet issue. Anyways, we're back. We're back. Internet's full go now. Let's finish this case. Well, we still have a while, but let's keep going.
Tell me whether you're going to let him represent you, take the lead on this, or if you're going to stay in charge of it.
Well, I like to get him to represent me, but none of the people that I put in there, he wasn't represent. Secondly, you guys are violating my rights because this officer is literally lying on the stand because I presented all my documents, and just because he never seen it doesn't mean that it's not real. And also, it's from the DOT. It was assigned to me from the DOT as a private citizen, and you never let me read the law. 49 CFR, subsection 3903. It says general applicability section, applicable only to employers and employees of commercial motor vehicles that transport property, passengers, in the interstate in commerce. I am not in commerce for profit. I'm not in profit.
All right, so excuse me, sir, I take it that Mr. McClendon is not going to be primary counsel on this. You're going to represent yourself primarily. Is that right?
I don't want to help me, but he doesn't speak. He doesn't say nothing. He's not defending me. I'm defending myself.
Well, I understand that you see the law differently. You're wanting to argue differently than the law that applies to the court we're in.
Your Honor, I didn't even hear an objection lodged in that statement. I'd ask the court to overrule whatever it is that he's just stated. so we can move on.
All right. Well, I do overrule any objection that you were trying to make, because frankly, I didn't totally understand what you were trying to say, but what I did understand has no bearing on this case. But Mr. McClendon, I guess he's just going to take charge, and you're going to just sit there, and if he needs you, he'll let you know.
Your Honor, I'd ask the court formally recognize Mr. McClendon as standby counsel.
That is how he is recognized. Just stand by counsel.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome. Go ahead, sir.
Your Honor,
No, I mean Mr. Dean.
You guys are violating my rights, my constitutional rights.
All right. I note your objection. I can't hear you now. You're not making a very good record, but I understand you object. I've overruled it, and you can argue that with the Court of Appeals.
Under what law? Are you under what law?
Well, if you think I'm violating the law, then you take it up with the Court of Appeals if you lose.
I am not gonna, because I'm righteous to the law. The law says that I have to be in commercial, and I'm not in commercial.
All right. Well, you can argue that in your closing argument. Go ahead, Mr. Dean. Overruled, and you can argue it on appeal if you need to.
That is a violation of my rights.
I note your position, sir.
You're violating my rights blatantly.
Okay. Sir, you've made your point. I've ruled against it. You need to let Mr. Dean proceed. Sir,
you're railroading me.
Well, I'm sorry you see it that way, but you need to stop talking now and let Mr. Dean proceed with his evidence.
What evidence? They're false.
Stop, sir. Go ahead, Mr. Dean.
I believe the question I'd asked is if he indicated that, I think you answered that he said he was free national, sitting back his Kansas registered, his Kansas license plate.
Objection.
All right, Deputy, you want to answer the question?
Well, he stated objection again, not a basis. So I don't know if the court wanted to rule.
Well, it's hard for me to rule when he keeps cutting in and out. I can't hear what he's saying. All right.
Unbelievable.
What's your objection this time?
That I have a recording, and what the officer is saying is incorrect. I never said.
Then you can bring that up on cross-examination or in your own testimony.
It's what we call cross-examination, sir. Deputy Hanson, following those statements and that information he provided to you, what did you then do?
Real quick, Mr. Dean, do you want me to answer that other question?
Yeah, go ahead and answer that question. We've kind of gone off on a tangent here. Excuse my reference, Your Honor. So I'm not sure whether you got that answer out or not, but go ahead and answer.
He did not tell it to me directly. He was speaking with Sergeant Michelson, and I overheard it.
Okay. And at this point in time, did you then just simply issue a citation for the illegal display of a tag?
Yes. Myself and another deputy removed the license plate that you had shown me a picture of. We then put on the license plate that he was getting ready to send back to Topeka, and I issued him an NTA for the illegal tag.
And this all occurred in the within the corporate limits of Greenwood County, Kansas. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Your Honor, I don't believe I have any further questions or evidence. The court's admitted the photograph of the license plate has been identified. It's been identified. Jurisdiction has been identified.
So the state rests?
State rests.
All right, Mr. Estrada, the state has presented what they're going to present.
I guess technically, Your Honor, my apologies. We don't actually rest yet, Mr. Estrada. I don't know if he's going to proceed with cross-examination or, but I don't have any additional questions.
You're right. Okay. So, Mr. Estrada, the state has finished their direct examination of this witness. This is your time to cross-examine the witness as to anything you feel like you need to for whatever purpose. And Keep in mind, the charge is illegal display of a license plate. So if you have questions,
I do.
okay, go
So-
ahead.
To the deputy, I have a recording in which I never said I was gonna send it back to I never said that I was going to send the
Is this
plates
a
back.
question? This isn't your time to testify yet.
I'm
Just
making,
ask him questions about what he testified to.
so, deputy, you said that I said that I was gonna return the plates. Can you attest to that? Do you have an affidavit? Because I have a recording. Is
I
that what you
don't-
said?
I also have a recording, and when I typed out my report, I was watching the video of the recording as well.
So I'm telling you that was false.
You
I
don't
said
tell him
Objection
to ask
argumentative, Your Honor.
that,
Let me-
yeah, that sustained. Don't ask questions where you're just arguing with him. That wasn't even a question. That was just an argument. Go ahead. If you have questions.
So I have both plates. My question is,
Well, you're testifying. Ask him a question based on what he testified to.
did I have the plates present with me?
I'm sorry, sir, you cut out. I didn't hear the full question.
Did I have the plates, the commercial plates or the Kansas states? Did I have them?
Yes, you had them inside the vehicle with you.
Yes. Did I have lawful and everything in order? Yes or no?
I believe that's what I testified to a little while ago. Yes, sir.
Okay, so my question is, if I have those documents and tags, and you are attesting that I do, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Now, my next question is, I was told that the other officer was the actual sheriff. Was he the sheriff, or was he another deputy?
I'm going to have to ask a clarifying question. Are you talking about the other male officer or the female officer?
The female only talked to me once. I'm talking about the male officer. He told me that he was he the sheriff or just another officer?
Well, he's not the sheriff. He's a sergeant. He's a supervisor.
He lied to me because he said that he's the sheriff.
Objection, Your Honor.
Right, so
These questions are all asking questions of hearsay from people that are not even here. And
Right,
irrelevance.
that is sustained. You cannot ask questions that talk about what someone else said that's not here and available to testify or be cross-examined.
I'd also cite the relevance. I'm not sure what relevance that somebody said about something after the traffic stop.
Sustained.
I was told by the deputy.
No, we're not gonna go there unless you've got the deputy subpoenaed and you can show me why that will help me decide if you were driving with illegal plate display.
I am not okay. I am not driving with illegal plates. I'm driving with according to the law. To the law
Okay.
that
Okay, hold on. Did I understand you to say you were not driving with legal plates?
I'm driving with illegal plates, and I got my commercial and my private plates. So I did not do anything wrong.
All right. Any other questions?
No more questions.
All right. Any redirect, Mr.
No. No, Your Honor, thank you. Stay rest.
All right, the state has presented all the evidence they're going to, Mr. Abel. Do you now want to put on any evidence?
Oh, I'm here. I'm here. I'm just listening, reading the chat. Don't worry. I did not go anywhere.
You can call yourself as a witness. You don't have to, and your silence will not be used as evidence of guilt against you. Do you want to testify?
Of course, I want to testify.
All right. You want to test? You don't want Mr. McClendon to help you. You want to proceed on your own behalf, right?
Yes, I am, because I don't see him helping or anything. And he already told me he's gonna support my cause. So I guess I am.
All right, raise your right hand. Are you calling yourself or someone else?
I'm calling myself and my wife.
All right, please raise your right hand. And I think you want the other right.
Well, I gotta hold it.
Do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes. Yes, I do.
Yes, you do? Okay. Make sure you speak up so we can hear you. Go ahead.
So,
Well, let's establish you're Abel Estrada Jr., the defendant in this case, right? Yes?
yes, I'm speaking, but somehow you hear me.
Okay, and you want to talk about what happened August 21st, 2024 here in Greenwood County, Kansas?
That's correct.
All right, tell me what you want the court to consider.
Okay, so I initially met the first officer at the store on my way from the doctor. When I went to eat something, and then I went. I was going.
Can you put your camera down where we can see your whole face?
Well, if I did separate it, you're not gonna hear me.
All right, go ahead.
So she saw me. She saw my plates. She made a call, and I went to eat my food in the street, and they were following me and chasing me and hunting me, and I can see them all around. Okay, and then I was going to my house, and the other.
How else are we going to get a retinal scan? We can't get one unless we get his whole face on screen. The judge knows this. We don't want to pay him $5 million. We're trying to get him on the cheap.
Officer saw me, and I did not violate the law in any shape or form, nor any code. He stopped me with a pretext that I didn't put a signal light, and that is not true. I did. But he wanted to stop me for my license plates. The main thing that he wanted to do was stop me from my license plates. I have the exhibits here. I presented the DOT, which says that I'm a private. I'm living in the private, and it's what exhibit is that? I submitted it already. I think in the back. No. I have the document, and I submitted it that shows from the DOT that I'm allowed to have the number that I have. I didn't make it up. I was given, it was assigned by the DOT. And it's a clear document. I've been driving like this, and I have both plates for the reason that because I'm disabled at the moment, I'm still disabled and recuperating, but I wanted to do some like Uber or something like that. And that's the reason why I have the other plate.
And it's in Kansas today. It was National Take Your Pilgrim to Work Day, so she dressed for the occasion. I don't know why that sounded hilarious in my head. It might have been a little. I don't know. I still thought it was funny.
And I have both plates, but because that day I was driving, I'm sorry, during that time I was traveling from one place to another according to the PFR law that I just read. And so since I'm in the private and I'm not for hire and I'm not selling or making profit of any kind, I use the, if I'm gonna be doing some kind of commerce or make money for profit, of course I'm gonna use the other place. That's the reason why I have both plates in there. I have it just in case. And I was not displaying the other plates because I'm in the private. I'm not doing any commerce with it. The other thing is, I was told that I requested for the sheriff, and they told me that was the sheriff, and he said, yes, I'm the sheriff. They lied about who he was, and they just covering for each other. All I'm saying is, I did not violate any law. I'm righteous unto the law. I'm following exactly what it is. There is, I know we're talking right now about Kansas codes and rules, but the supremacy law says that no law from the state can breach or break the law of the United States, the Constitution. That's why the supremacy law. I'm using that. That is the law that I'm using because I am not violating. So anything that goes against what the law of the land is void. It's not standing. So I am not violating anything. And for anybody to do that is to violate my constitutional rights. And I'm trying to cite the laws here, but you keep stopping me and you say you're not gonna accept it or you're gonna dismiss it. But my question is, what law are you dismissing? The law of the land. Anyway, the last paper that I want to submit is the one that I got from the DOT. It should be on the record. It clearly states that I'm in the private. I'm not making any money. I'm not for profit. That I'm in the private. That is the law that is in the books. That is the law that I am adhering. Any other law from the states, they violate. That law is not standing. Then the document that I submitted earlier with all the cases, over 24 cases with the same thing.
Sir, I'm just not making out what you're saying there.
I'm sorry. I submitted a document that states over 24 cases that are being won with the same situation that I have. That is to travel. In fact, travel with no registration and no plates. I have plates from the DOT, and I have a registration, and I have the other plates. I did not violate anything. However, I respect the law. You violate the laws of the United States. You violate my constitutional rights. And the other thing that I wanted to say is, I don't appreciate you guys calling me a sovereign citizen because that is a derogatory name. How can you be sovereign and a citizen? Citizen is a servant. So if you're a servant, how can you be a citizen? I mean, how can you be a sovereign? I don't call myself that. I don't define myself like that.
All right. If you guys aren't paying attention to Mr. McClendon, his standby counsel, he's been trying not to laugh. He's had this smirk on his face for the last 10 minutes now, and I'm cracking up watching him.
I'm just an American, following the American law. Any law, any other law that doesn't adhere is not with according to the supremacy law. So whatever Mr. Dean is saying, you are using the state law over the Constitution, over the supremacy
All right,
law.
you're making legal arguments. You really need to stick to the facts in this part of the proceeding. Anything else you want to tell me about the facts of that incident on August 21st of 2024?
Yes, I am righteous to the law. I am following exactly what it says. I am
I'm
not
hearing you, sir.
I am righteous under the Constitution of the United States. I am not driving because I'm not for hire. I am traveling according to the law. I just read it. According to the law, CFR subsection 390.3. I am not driving. I am traveling from one point to another. I'm not transporting anything. I am not driving. I am traveling. That fact needs to be understood because if not, then you're putting me being railroad to do something that I don't want to do and didn't do anything. I'm not even contracting. I never wanted to do any of
All right,
this.
well, you haven't given, you've stuck to your arguments and you haven't given me any more facts. So I'm going to let Mr. Dean cross-examine you at this time. He'll ask you questions. Go ahead. If you have anything, Mr. Dean.
Your Honor.
Oh, this is going to be good. This is going to be good. Were you in the driver's seat of your car moving on the day that you got pulled over? Yep. Okay, I rest my case. Perfect, Tommy. Thank you so much for becoming a new member. Welcome to the family. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Sparkle Poots, all together now. Bless his heart. He just eat up with the stupid. Thank you, Sparkle Poots. I appreciate it.
If I could have a moment to finish sending a message to my assistant regarding my schedule.
He's not even paying attention. Oh, I love it. He's like, I'm just gonna let him go. I don't need to even do anything with him.
Did hear.
Okay, thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Estrada, were you operating a motor vehicle, in particular a GMC Acadia in Greenwood County back on August, what was the right date? Back on August 21st of 2024.
I was traveling in my vehicle. That's correct.
Okay, and you were in Greenwood County, Kansas when you were contacted by law enforcement officers, correct?
Yes.
Or traffic stop.
Travel. Yes.
And just to be clear, you weren't cited for, you weren't given any kind of a citation in regards to blinker violation or change of lane without, or lane change violation, correct?
That's correct because that was the pretext to stop me. Yes, that's correct.
And what's been admitted in State's Exhibit number 1, that is the only claimed license plate you were displaying on your vehicle at the time you were operating it, correct?
That was the plate sitting on the vehicle, but that's not the only plate that I have.
Listen to my question very closely. This is the only plate that you had displayed on the outside of your vehicle, correct?
Yes.
And where did this plate come from?
That's the number. That's the one that I got from the DOT.
My question again, not where the number was generated from. Where did this actual physical plate, irregardless of the information on it, where did this plate come from?
From a company. Company made it for me.
And you requested that company make it for you, correct?
Yes, I did.
And that's a private company. It's not some government agency that issued you this, correct?
Correct.
How long is this plate good for?
Indefinitely, because when I'm using it in the private.
Okay. No further questions, Your Honor.
Anything you want to say to follow up what he just asked you about?
Yes, thank you.
No argument, just facts.
I don't even know how to question anymore because I'm not able to use my own thoughts. I guess
You heard it. He doesn't know how to use his own thoughts. I think that's what put him in this position in the first place. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and say that. You should work on using your own thoughts before you let the internet tell you how to put stuff on your car that's not legal. Let's work on that one first.
I don't have a question at the moment. Go ahead.
Do you have any other witnesses you want to call, sir?
I want to call my wife.
Very well. What is her name?
It's Annie Estrada.
Annie
She's
Estrada, if you'll please come on the screen. Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear the information, the testimony you're about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So help you God.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Go ahead. You are
Oh, bless her heart. She looks normal. No, don't corrupt her.
Annie Estrada, married to the defendant Abel Estrada Jr., is that right?
That's correct.
Now, were you with him at any time during his interactions with law enforcement on August 21st, 2024? I'm sorry?
Yes.
Okay. And what do you want to tell me about that?
I just want to add that the number, the DOT number that was on there was never read, because I told them that you need to check it. And we have the paperwork from the DOT that it is a registered number. You know, so how, like, what is the issue with the plate? If you run the number, it is registered under the Department of Transportation.
It's a lawful plate.
And then they didn't want to do anything with it. They actually, so I had to pull out the fee schedule that we have. If you want to do business, then let's do business. Here's our fee schedule. And they ignored it.
Wait, isn't she? Didn't her husband call her as a witness? Why is she testifying? Wait, did I miss what's going on?
And then when the officer, the deputy started writing the ticket, he actually told my husband, if you don't sign this, you're gonna go to jail. That's not correct. I believe that's a violation.
I did under the threat of
Yeah.
harm.
So now he has
All right,
to sign it.
Mr. Estrada, she's testifying.
Okay.
Yeah, so he signed it under duress.
Yeah.
And so
Anything else?
my main concern here is what is the violation, because we both numbers are registered. One is under the Department of Transportation and the other is under commercial. And I have the paperwork here that I sent it to the deputy.
What is that you're holding up?
The registration,
Oh,
transportation, carrying the number, that it's a registered number.
Don't feel too bad for Joe. I have his case after this. And he's not just watching this. He's not only watching, he's watching himself watch this too. He's he wants to see this at multiple angles.
Mr. Dean, any questions?
No.
No? All right, thank you. Any further evidence, Mr. Estrada?
Yeah, but that's not how expert witnesses work. For an expert witness, you have to be an expert in a field and you have to put your credentials on the record for you to be able to testify, not necessarily testify, but be able to, yeah, I don't know where I'm going with this, but yeah, you can't just get up there and just start talking though. Not like that.
Not at the moment.
All right,
Mr. Estrada, you're in a courtroom. Please remove your cap.
The only reason I put it on is because I'm taking blood thinners, and I am freezing, and I got the heater next to me, and I cannot concentrate. I do it out of necessity. It's not that I'm being disrespectful. May I have my hat? Because I'm trembling here. I can't concentrate.
Just call for the judge.
I'll let you wear it under these circumstances that you described. Now,
I apologize.
both parties have presented their evidence. You said you're not going to call anyone else, right, Mr. Estrada?
Yes.
All right, and I'm going to give you each no more than a 5-minute closing argument. But remember, I'm pretty versed in this law of license plates, so I don't need a lot of legal argument. Go ahead, though, Mr. Dean, if you have any.
I could argue quite a bit about, mainly in regards to what Mr. Estrada is referencing.
Now, feel free to argue. For 5
But I
minutes.
don't believe it's going to be of a necessary benefit to the court. I believe the court's well aware that regardless of whatever this is that Mr. Estrada has issued to himself, he may have received a KDOT or a U.S. Department of Transportation number associated with something. What Mr. Estrada is failing to acknowledge is the fact that this is the supremacy clause doesn't mean all things overrule everything the state does. State rights, equal protection, as the court knows, all of those, full faith and credit that the U.S. Constitution is the primary clause Mr. Abel just ignores from Mr. Estrada. Kansas requires you to, if you're a resident of Kansas or you have a vehicle in Kansas, which he just showed us a registration for Central County, that you have a Kansas license tag. You don't get to just decide that you're no longer going to display a license tag from the state of Kansas. And he's displaying a tag that no one can run, no one can verify any information from, and I think that's clearly a violation of Kansas law. I ask that you make a finding of guilty, and that's all I have to say.
All right, Mr. Estrada, it is 12:55. You have 5 minutes to make any legal arguments. Go ahead, please.
Thank you. I'm going back to the supremacy clause of Article 6 that says that all judges are supposed to be approved by this law of the land. I don't know why you keep why they keep saying that I don't know what I'm saying, but the law of the United States is the supremacy law over any state law, and 49 CFR subsection 390.3 says that unless you there's an exception that says unless otherwise specially provided in the rules not applied to section 3, the occupation of personal property by individuals not for compensation and not the furtherance of commercial enterprise. So I am not in commercial. I am not in commercial law. I'm not traveling with a truck. I'm not making any money. I am disabled, and the only reason why I'm in the city is because of the hospital. I am not using this car for commercial purposes. I am exactly quoting inside what I'm using. This is to do otherwise. This would be a blatant violation of my rights, and all this gas lamping, telling me that I don't know what I'm saying and I don't know what I'm doing, sir. That is incorrect. I know what I'm doing because I've been doing it. I studied it. I went to the Kansas Assembly, General Assembly, and we study, and they teach us not to violate the law, to obey the law. But any law that supersedes the Constitution of the United States is no law to follow. So, and I want to surmise by saying that I am not going to violate the law in any way, shape, or form. I never did it, and I'm giving it. Whether you want to give it is not correct. You're just saying that because you just wanna get your way with me. But I am disabled. I got no money. Whatever money you're trying to take from me, I don't have it. $700 a month is not enough for me to live. So I don't have the money to pay, number one. Number two, I didn't violate anything. Everybody in your office and in the attorney and the other person at the judges, they're all telling me, why don't you just pay the fine? Why don't you just plead the case? Why am I gonna plead something that I didn't violate any law? I did not do anything wrong. I'm righteous unto the law. Period. That's all I wanted to say. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Hey, he did that in 3.5 minutes. I thought the judge was gonna have to stop him. All right, we still have a little bit of time left in this. 113. I think that, yeah. I mean, we still have another case, but the case after this is only about 10 minutes. So there's still almost 10 minutes left of this one.
The applicable statute today is 8-133, KSA 8-133. Display of license plate. The provision begins, the license plate assigned to the vehicle shall be attached to the rear thereof and shall be so displayed during the current registration year or years. It goes on with some language from there, but that's the bottom line. Were you, sir, driving a vehicle with the license plate assigned by the Department of Vehicles, the tag department, and did you have it attached to the rear of your vehicle? And was it for the current year? I understood the officer's testimony to say that you did not have the current year's plate attached. I wasn't totally clear, but it sounded like you were saying you had a tag, but you didn't have it attached. You, on cross-examination, were very clear that the only plate you had attached to the rear of your car was Plaintiff's Exhibit 1. And you admitted that that did not come from the Department of Motor Vehicles, but that came from some private contractor that you hired to make this special plate for you. You emphasize the US DOT number. Well, you may have a DOT number, but those are usually assigned for vehicles of a certain size, weight, and function. I don't know that I've ever heard anyone argue that the number would apply to a private automobile, as in this case. But those numbers go usually on the doors in vinyl lettering, but they do not replace a car tag. I do find you guilty, sir. You will pay a fine and court costs. And I was looking, this isn't one with a scheduled fine to it. Mr. Dean, do you have any recommendation to what the fine in this should be?
Your Honor, as he had paid his taxes and registration, I'm going to treat this as what I typically do, even though Mr. Estrada exercises his right to trial and does not acknowledge that the state of Kansas can even require him to do this. I'm going to ask court to impose a fine of $50. Most court costs of $108. I believe under most circumstances, this carries a maximum 30 days in jail, not asking for any jail to be served, but I believe that we may need some type of a sentence underlined for this matter, with 6 months of non-reporting probation and appropriate time to pay.
And I'm sorry, I missed.
Yeah, I thought he had the trifecta at the beginning of this hearing. I was wrong. The only thing he was charged with was his plate. And he had an actual plate in his vehicle. I don't think it was active. I don't think it was up to date. So I think his registration was still bad, but he had the plate inside of his car. Oh, this guy. He just did all this because he wanted to put up that goofy SovCit fake plate. That's it. We sat here for an hour for that.
What you said about how long the length was.
I actually didn't make it. I just stated the max sentence was up to 30 days. I didn't make a particular statement as to how many days to serve. I will say recommend 15. Again, it did actually have the tag, is choosing not to display it based upon an improper belief on the rule of law in the state's opinion. will clarify that I at no point in time stated that Mr. Estrada did not know what he was saying, nor a number of things he attributed to me as being statements about him. I made none of those statements. I simply stated that the full faith and credit and the fact that we are constantly.
I thought the officer testified that it wasn't good because when the officer was testifying, he said that he ran the second plate. I don't remember. I guess I don't remember if he said it came back valid. I thought he said it didn't, but maybe it did. Maybe he's actually legal. He's just an idiot. Well, he's an idiot, but yeah, let's move on.
Constitutional republic and the states have state rights and control of certain issues is being ignored by the arguments. Never stated that he didn't know what he was saying.
Well, and I have listened to Mr. Abel in both city court and district court on this case, and at no time have I been given the impression that he was incompetent or needed a mental evaluation. I always believed and found that he just had a differing opinion than what most of the folks in the legal system believe based on the laws that we work with. But Mr. Estrada, your fine will be $50. Your court costs are $108, so you owe $158. How much time do you need to pay that, sir?
I have no money. I make $700 a month and my rent is $500, which leaves me with $200 for food. I have no money, but I'm going to appeal this. I'm appealing this.
All right, well, I'm going to give you 14 days to pay. I'm also giving you a 15-day sentence that you will not have to serve as long as you do successfully complete a 6-month non-reporting probation. You will not have to see a probation officer, but you will need to do 2 things. The first is do not violate any laws during the 6 months. And the second is pay the $158 within 14 days. Now, you do have up to 14 days to appeal this decision to the Kansas Court of Appeals. If you do, I am going to set your appeal bond at $158 cash. Anything further, Mr. Dean, from the state?
Your Honor, just non-reporting conditions, probation to include pay all costs and fines within 15 days of today's date. I'd like a pay or appear date.
Okay.
Keep us notified if he would change it. Keep the county attorney's office notified if he change addresses and no new law violations.
All right. If you change your address, phone number, contact information, the condition of your probation is to let the county attorney know. And then I'm going to give you a date to return that if you don't have this paid, we're going to revisit it and see what, if any, effect it might have on your probation. So, Missy?
Did you say 14 days?
They're about 14, 15, somewhere.
I had 15 days written down, but I may have just done that off of the 15-day sentence.
February 28th at 11.
All right, February 28th, 2025 at 11. You need to have that paid or be back here in court. Yes, sir?
I cannot pay it. I don't have the income.
All right, well, we will visit that. We'll revisit that on February 28th.
Your Honor, in this case, I probably should review the journal entry and maybe.
All right. I cut off the last couple minutes where Mr. Dean was just going over his kind of his contract that he does at the end of every case. But yeah, I cut that off. Man. That's yeah. I no more words. Let's just finish this video up. It's hour and 39 minutes into this, and we still have one more clip to go. We're going to your guys' favorite person. I don't remember his name. The guy who was watching himself watch court. Oh, this guy. This is a great way to end the show.
Mr. Conrad, can you pick one of the other cameras and stick with one of them?
How do you do this?
We're going to be on the record. You need a minute, Mr. Dean.
I'm just making the note I don't usually have to make, that the court approves a journal entry in open court over the defendant's unwillingness to approve or comment as to what was incorrect. All right.
You're now on the record in 24 TR 666. State of Kansas versus Joey Raymond Conrad. Paul E. Dean for the state. Mr. Conrad appearing in person and pro se. We are set for a bench trial on required obedience to lawful order of a police officer or fireman. It's alleged that he violated a lawful order. So that looks like that's a Blake Fisher case. Is he available? Are you ready to proceed, counsel?
I don't see Mr. Fisher here. I'm not sure what situation is going to see what happens. I believe this is the first time I've had a hearing on this case.
Right, he's had one hearing, first appearance. Let's see, do you know anything about where Deputy Fisher is, or does Greenwood County Courthouse know where he is?
No.
I did see service in the file.
Your Honor, there's apparently been some type of mistake, and we've also ran way long. I'm late for district court. I'd ask the court to grant me one continuance on this.
Could I talk for just a minute?
And reset this for trial.
Could I talk for 1 minute?
All right, Mr. Conrad, go ahead. What's your position on this request for continuance?
I've contacted Mr. Dean's office at least 15 times in the last 90 days, asking to discuss this case with him. It's been impossible to communicate. I've asked his secretaries many times for him to call me back. They've set up times and dates. I've been called back and they've been canceled. I've tried many times to get with him to discuss this case with him. It's pretty simple.
Well, let's not try it yet.
Okay, this is a pretty simple.
But you want to deny the charge, right?
I 1000% want to deny this charge.
Right.
This is
Well,
a
then we're
very
gonna have
bad
to do it
ticket.
in
I would
an
love to discuss it with Mr. Dean and explain to him why this is just a crazy citation.
I don't know that Mr. Dean's going to have time to do that. We were supposed to have been done by 12.
Yeah, absolutely. He could have taken some legal tips from the SovCit that he just sat through. Look something up. The officer's not there to proceed. Ask for a dismissal. Stop complaining. Also, Cheshire. I have an Android. I've always had an Android. I had a work phone that was an iPhone for about 6 months a couple years ago, and I absolutely hated it. I just don't like Apple. I'm just so used to Android that I just don't like Apple. Plain and simple. Brick in the Wall, thank you so much for the super chat. And I am grateful Jedi didn't dox you either. Good job, Jedi.
And you just heard him say he's late for court with one of the district
Okay.
managers.
I've already drove from Pittsburgh, Kansas to Eureka once because I had no idea that it could be done by Zoom. There was no communication to me that that could be done. So that's
Right.
one day I've already taken to get there and go back. And now today I've been sitting here since 11 o'clock. And I really just want to discuss with him how bogus this ticket is. It is like there's no basis for this. And I provided a written explanation the day after this ticket was written.
Yes, sir. You got Mr. Dean's attention. He's no longer writing notes to his administrator, and he took his glasses off. Be careful.
Sir, you need to stop and listen to me.
Okay.
I am going to grant this continuance. It's the first continuance, and it's quite common for judges to grant one continuance basically to each side.
Okay. Okay.
I will grant the state the continuance, and then between now and that date, if you want to keep trying to get a hold of Mr. Dean, you're welcome to do so. So Missy, when is the next available date for a bench trial? Missy, do you have a trial date?
Missy, we need you.
Sorry, Judge, I was on the phone. You need a date. How far out?
Mr. Dean, 30 days.
Really, just whenever it fits into the, onto the docket, Your Honor.
All right, Missy.
We could go March 14th at 11.
All right, Mr. Conrad, this is continued to March. I'm sorry, what date did you say in March?
14th.
March 14th at 11 o'clock.
Okay. Could I ask one question?
Certainly.
I would really, really be pleased if there was video or audio evidence of what happened this night. Is there any kind of video or audio evidence? Can I get an answer to that? Because I believe that's going to clarify everything if there is.
Well, again, you're going to have to get with Mr. Dean on that.
Okay, look, I want to clarify a couple of things. Sir, I don't represent you. You're not a client of mine. I think you're aware of that.
Yes.
I do try to talk with people in advance regarding these hearings, but the last year has been record-setting for me in the amount of jury trials I've had to conduct. I've spent over a year or over a month of 2024 in jury trial, which has thrown off my schedule and pushed me further and further behind, along with in the last 45 days dealing with my mother's final illness and passing. So that's why you've not been hearing from me, because my docket is generally full, booked 4 to 6 weeks at a time, and these things have just created complete disruption. In general, that's why we do the bench trial, because most people, when they say, I want to tell you what's happened and why this needs to be dismissed, are asking me to just simply accept their word, or the officers typically don't do that. I let the judge make a decision. I'm not saying what you're saying is improper. I'm also not going to tell the officer he's just completely wrong. That's generally what I say is, I understand what you're saying. We'll submit it to the court. Everybody present their arguments. I'm not here to deny anybody the ability to have their day in court, nor do I want to delay this any further. I generally don't ask for continuances from the state on this docket. I generally have all of my information. I'm ready to go. I have no explanation for why the deputy is not here, but I also do know that oftentimes our officers are involved in accidents and or call outs on emergencies that we can't control, and I'm not being made aware of at the time because it's generally an emergent situation. And sometimes people make mistakes on their calendar. You provided me a written statement. I'll try to look at it later on this afternoon, but that's as good as I can do right now. Again, don't want to act like I'm trying to ignore you, because I'm not, but I do have limitations on my time. And in any, that's what I can advise you on that topic. So
I respect everything you told me, sir. My time, I'm just equally as busy as you. I've got up at 3:30 today.
Sir, we're not going to get into
Yeah, okay.
this
All I wanted was a
conversation.
simple phone call.
you have the right to hire an attorney who can help you with this and can direct you on how to get what we call discovery, those documents and information you are asking for. But if you're going to represent yourself, you do need to know how to do that, how to represent yourself.
Okay.
So,
Send in a written request for any video. I didn't have enough time to get all the way through the file to see whether there's video. I don't know off the top of my head. I didn't see it. I didn't get all the way through the reports to see if that box was checked. The best way to make sure that dash cam or body cam is available for trial is to send a written request. Could be via email to the county attorney's office asking for that.
Okay, and then that is at trial only. I don't get that preliminary before the trial.
You don't get it unless you request it, is what I'm saying.
But I can get it before the trial?
Yes.
Okay.
all right, we are in recess. Thank you.
All right. That is it. That is the night. We just spent almost 2 hours with Judge Webster. We had one SovCit. We had two questionable people. Oh, thank you guys so much for hanging out with me tonight. I do appreciate it. You guys are awesome. Thank you guys so much for the super chats. Didn't want to miss Cheshire Cats. Thank you all. I will be looking into Samsung and Watch. Sweet. Thank you for the super chat, Cheshire. I appreciate it. All right. Yeah, Pegler got so he needs an attorney. All right, I've got it set up to raid Lone Wolf. I'm not gonna take 5 minutes to say goodnight tonight. I'm out. I'm tired. When I stream for longer than an hour and 15 minutes, I start turning into a pumpkin. I think you guys know this by now. So I will see you all not tomorrow. Tomorrow's date night. I will see you guys on Sunday. Have a great weekend. Oh, it's a holiday weekend. Have a great weekend. Don't do anything dumb. Be safe. Have fun. Don't drink and drive. You know my normal spiel. You guys are awesome. I will see you on Sunday night. Until next time, bye.
You all.
Have a good day, everybody.
Thank you.